This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Lots of stuff to get into today. It's a wonderful Monday for sports. Obviously, this is the week that the NFL draft is scheduled to take place Thursday night, Dallas, Texas. I don't see any need for me to go down there personally. Why should I subject myself to the disgusting tendencies of having to be around Dallas Cowboy fans with their nauseating, delusional self, making me want to vomit? Why bother? Why bother with that when I can ignore them, for crying out loud? Don't need to be around them. It's not like they have any significance in this draft. They got the 19th pick in the first round. Now, they don't have much significance. Why should I want to be around those Dallas Cowboy fans? Why should I want to subject myself to that? As great of a city as Dallas is, I don't know if I want to do that. So I don't know if I'm going to be there at the NFL draft. I'm just not sure. I do know that I'm interested in this draft like never before. I don't know what Cleveland's going to do. I don't know what the Giants are going to do. I think I know what the Jets are going to do, but it could all be a decoy. I don't know what the Cleveland Browns are going to do with the fourth pick, because we don't know what they're going to do with the first pick, and we don't know what's going to happen with the 2 and 3 picks. And then, of course, there's Denver at number 5, which John Elway has let the world know, excuse me, I'm open for business. Make me a damn good offer, and I'll trade down. Make me a favor, pretty please, with sugar on top. We'll talk about that and so much more in regards to this week's NFL draft as the show progresses throughout this day with you for the next 2 hours. But the first order of business is the NBA players. We all know what time it is. We all know what time it is. Now, for most of you, what's on your mind is LeBron James, because after all, he's the best player in the world. We have to make sure officially. We have to make sure we put all the superlatives out there, because we certainly can't avoid doing that, because we're talking about LeBron James. So we have to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's in mentioning the gifts and the greatness of LeBron James. I mean, after all, his man Rich Paul might be watching, listening. His man Adam Medelson may be listening. Maverick Carter, the great Maverick Carter, the marketing wizard extraordinaire, the marketing arm for LeBron James, he might be listening too. We have to make sure that we cover all our bases. We have to make sure we cover all our bases before we talk about LeBron James, because God forbid, that we give the slightest indication that, oh my Lord, he's not the greatest player in the world. We can't make that mistake. We got to make sure we give the impression that he's the greatest player, he's the greatest father, he's the greatest philanthropist, he's the greatest entrepreneur. We have to make sure we throw out all of these superlatives, okay? So we don't have to hear anything from LeBron James people, because God forbid, we say the slightest thing wrong about LeBron James, Lord knows how we'll be vilified. So we want to make sure we get that out the way. LeBron James is a great husband. I mean, I'm not Savannah, but I mean, one would surmise, as beautiful as she is and as often as she smiles, and she is an absolutely lovely, wonderful, wonderful woman. Let me be very clear in all seriousness. Of all the great things that LeBron James has done, I think the one thing that's never ever been debated by people who know him, by people who love him, by people who are close to him, that by people who are family members and everybody else, is that obviously was the right call. Spending the rest of your life with her. She is something special. His children, obviously, great kids, which obviously he's a great dad. Matter of fact, I think LeBron James is going to refuse to retire until his son enters the NBA, because his son is that talented. But I never talk about his son, because I can't stand how people try to get into folks' business by talking about their children. I think that's very bad. I will not do that. But I wish his son's nothing but the best. They're wonderful, wonderful kids, I am sure. He's a wonderful dad. We want to make sure we got that out the way. Let's go through a great businessman, great entrepreneur. Did I miss anything? Charitable, philanthropic. We have to remember what he's done for the kids in Akron, and he's got them to, scholarships to Akron University. We got to remember all of that. He's also a producer in Hollywood. He's got 2 homes out there. You understand what I'm saying? Real estate is a good thing for him as well. I mean, hey, did I miss anything? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to make sure that I covered all bases when it comes to the superlatives surrounding LeBron James, because God forbid we make the mistake of missing that. I mean, God forbid. We don't want to do that. All right. I'm sorry. I forgot the last thing. He's the greatest player in the world. There's nobody better than LeBron James. He's going to be on the Mount Rushmore basketball when all is said and done. He's probably the greatest athlete that has ever played the game of basketball. Next to Michael Jordan, he might be, number 2 on Mount Rushmore, even though Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 6 NBA titles. and was a 19-time All-Star and has the one definitive greatest move in the history of basketball, the sky hook, the one unstoppable move. Not to mention the fact that, again, he's the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. But if you want to put LeBron James ahead of him and Bill Russell, who's an 11-time champion, all the time, so be it. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's no big deal. Nevertheless, let's make sure we understand something here, okay? LeBron James are all of those things in a bag of chips. LeBron James is special. Series is tied 2-2 now with Indiana because of primarily LeBron James. Even though others stepped up when it counted, bottom line is LeBron James did his thing. All right? Had about 32 and 13 last night. 32-13 and 8, 32-13 and 9, whatever it is. I mean, we're almost numb to the greatness of LeBron James. We sit at the altar of LeBron James. We all know this. We all know this. And so right now you're going to have discussions as to whether or not he's the MVP of the playoffs. And having said all of that, I still tell you that answer is no. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason he's not the MVP of these playoffs is because Anthony Davis is still playing in these playoffs. You know that Anthony Davis that dropped 47 Saturday night in New Orleans against Portland? Yes, he was assisted by the 41 from Jrue Holiday. There is no doubt about that. But I'm going to repeat this. Anthony Davis had 47 and 11. Anthony Davis is averaging 33 and 12 on 57% shooting throughout these playoffs. And unlike LeBron James, Anthony Davis went up against a 3 seed. He ain't the 3 seed like Cleveland is. This man, or actually Cleveland was the 4th seed, my apologies. The point is that Anthony Davis is the lower seed. He went up against a 3 seed in the Portland Trail Blazers and destroyed them. And Damian Lillard, a star and a stud. And congratulations on being a new daddy from the other week. He is home because Jrue Holiday put handcuffs on that brother. And that's big for me to say because I love me some Damian Lillard. But he ran into somebody that was bigger, that was stronger, that was just as fast, and evidently wanted to put the world on notice himself that he could ball too. And as a result, what you have is a situation where the New Orleans Pelicans are advancing to the Western Conference semifinals, and they're the ones sitting around waiting for the Golden State Warriors to finish handling their business because they already handled theirs with a sweep. Meanwhile, back at the ranch in Cleveland, LeBron James is tied 2-2. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are lucky they're not down 3-1. And LeBron James, everybody wants to sit up there and say, he's doing it by himself. Well, guess what? Whose fault is that? I am in no way implying that LeBron James tried to push Kyrie Irving out the door. That was Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert is the one that had Kyrie Irving under contract for the next 2 years. Dan Gilbert is the one who knew that and still elected to trade him. He didn't have to do that. Matter of fact, I'm told LeBron James told him not to do it. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a difference. There's a difference between saying to your owner, you cannot trade this guy. He is a superstar. We need him. I need him. I can't win this championship without him. We need to keep Kyrie Irving. Let me talk to him. Let me talk some sense into him. Let's handle whatever dysfunction or dissension that exists between us. I cannot lose this guy. There is a difference between doing that and saying, look, you got him under contract for 2 years. Don't trade him. I'm going to be ready to handle my business no matter who you put on the court with me. It's fine. But you ain't got to trade him. He's under contract for 2 years. What you kowtowing to him for? Hell. Who cares how he feels? Keep him. See the difference? Because from what I'm told, it's the latter, what LeBron James did, not the former. And as a result, because of it, you find yourself in the situation this is. Because does anybody believe, is anybody bold enough and stupid enough to be willing to call up on this show and tell me that this series is 2-2 and is as tight as it is on the court and it with the outcome if Kyrie Irving was still there with LeBron James? Is anybody really willing to say that? Because I'm here to tell you that's false. That is absolutely patently false. False. There is no way in hell that would be the case. Kyrie Irving if he were in Cleveland with LeBron James, this series would be at least 3-1. Probably Indiana would have got swept, even with Oladipo being the star that he is. But pacifying Kyrie Irving and making him feel better was not a priority for LeBron James. I'm not saying that LeBron James got him traded. I'm not saying that LeBron James did not tell Dan Gilbert not to trade him. I'm not implying anything like that. I'm saying that there is a difference between expressing your love and support for a teammate who's a star in his own right and having a nonchalant approach to whether he stays or goes. There is a difference. And LeBron James showcased that, to my knowledge, when Kyrie Irving was looking to leave Cleveland last summer. That is what I believe to be fact. And so he is where he is. So for those of you who want to sit up there and talk about the greatness of LeBron James, well, who doesn't know that? Nobody ever questioned his greatness. Nobody ever said that LeBron James was anything less than the best. Nobody said that or denied that he was the best player in basketball right now, best player in the world. He's clearly a 3-time champion. But we're going to talk about this year, and we're going to talk about the doldrums he's experiencing and the load that he has to carry, logging 43 minutes last night, leading everybody in playoff minutes tallied. And we want to sweat how LeBron can't catch a break. Well, who did that? Didn't LeBron do that? Didn't he have something to do with that? I think he did. And as a result, you make your bed, you lie in it. Now, it's only a short-term situation because I don't know if y'all have noticed, LeBron James ain't staying in Cleveland. I can't believe he's going to stay in Cleveland after this year. LeBron James not going to want to be a part of all of this. Came to Cleveland, committed to 4 years, did what he came to do, bringing the championship back to the city. That's LeBron. Matter of fact, I think the only thing to dislike about LeBron is that damn Sprite commercial with the face, with the beard and the cap on and he's sitting bobbing back and forth and drinking the soda. I think it's corny as hell. That's the only thing negative I got to say about LeBron James. Other than that, he's the best in the world in a multitude of areas. The iconic NBA brand globally, as far as I'm concerned. What a superstar. He is something special. And I'm going to miss him so much when he's gone. And I'll tell you something else you can't deny I appreciate about LeBron James. I don't think y'all appreciate it enough. The way that man has taken care of himself, his body, his conditioning, his commitment to excellence. You don't teach that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be grateful just for his talent. Be grateful for his commitment to excellence. Understand who he is and what he's all about. And respect that man and understand and appreciate the fact you are going to miss him when he's gone. And why can I bring that up? Because it breaks my heart to bring this up. I can't say the same about Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony had 14 points last night. Carmelo Anthony hit 6 of his 10 shots. Saturday night. He hit 6 of his 10 shots. The Utah Jazz are still smoking the Oklahoma City Thunder. For some inexplicable reason, Russell Westbrook ain't shooting in the fourth quarter right now. Billy Donovan can't seem to wrap his hands around what needs to be done and just getting it done. Paul George is middle of the road. He's playing well. He's doing his job, but this is a guy that everybody was dreaming about, fantasizing about, ending up in L.A. And what we're seeing is a star that's a little bit more than just another player, but we still need to see more. And what we're looking for from him, we are not getting. What we're looking for from Russell Westbrook, we're not getting. What we were looking for from Carmelo Anthony, we're reaching the unfortunate conclusion that maybe he just can't do it anymore. At age 33 years of age, with his shot, I have always believed in Carmelo Anthony. Something's missing. I don't know what the hell it is, but he doesn't look great. He just doesn't. And I think part of the reason is physical. How you take care of yourself. Nobody can be LeBron. I get all of that. But with the money these players are making and what they're able to afford, you can look in shape. I don't know what's wrong with Carmelo. I just know that what we're seeing from him is not enough for this team to beat the Utah Jazz in the first round. I don't even want to talk championship. There's nothing about that conversation. There's nothing about that conversation. The way the Oklahoma City Thunder are looking right now, Minnesota would beat them. Houston would beat them. Golden State would beat them. San Antonio would beat them. And Utah is beating them. And don't get me started on what the Pelicans would do to them. This seems to be a different world, a different stratosphere. It's just different, y'all. And somebody's got to say something. I'm still praying that Carmelo Anthony gets it together because I believe in his brother and I want him in a conference finals, if not an NBA finals, with the ball in his hands, able to do something. And I want to know that he could be able to do it. But he has been in the league every bit as long as LeBron James. But he is not nearly the physical specimen that LeBron James is. He's not in the kind of shape that LeBron James is. He's not as effective as an all-around basketball player that LeBron James is. And the things that he's better at, meaning shooting the basketball better than LeBron James, he's not even doing that right now. I'm growing very, very concerned. And I'm starting to believe Utah's going to win this series. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. This is what it's come down to. You look at LeBron, you see him, and then you see the difference between him and everybody else, which is one of the things that makes him the greatest player in the world. What about Houston with James Harden? Yeah, he had 29 and 9 the other night, but there were plays that he just looked lost out there. He only shot about 41% from the field. He didn't look like himself. James Harden's only shooting 40% in these playoffs, down from 44.9 in the regular season. He's even dropped from the free throw line. Now, they only lost one game to Minnesota. I predict they're going to win tonight, and then they'll close it out in 5. But my point is, think about what the people say about James Harden. Here's what I need from James Harden. I need James Harden to not slack off. I don't need him giving folks any excuse to rob him of league MVP honors. I don't need them looking at him in the postseason, them forgetting it's a regular season award, and then all of a sudden judging him accordingly. I don't care that the votes have already been sent in. You just never know. And I don't want James Harden to give anybody any excuse to sit up there and say, well, maybe he shouldn't get it. Maybe we should be giving it to Anthony Davis. Well, maybe he shouldn't get it. Maybe we should be giving it to LeBron James. They ain't gonna say Russell Westbrook right now, even though he averaged a triple-double for the second consecutive season, which no man in the history of the NBA has ever done. But what I am saying to you is simple. You can't rule out anything. You can't rule out a damn thing when it comes to this MVP chase. Harden doesn't need to take his foot off the gas. Harden needs to amp it up, and he needs to do so because he needs to recognize that some folks out there will use any excuse to rob him of a league MVP honor he so richly deserved. You cannot afford to slack off now if you are James Harden. You cannot do it. You got to go out there and play like you played in Game 1 against Minnesota. Period. No excuses. You got to do it. Because you have earned this MVP. As far as I'm concerned, he is my MVP. But you never know how people will switch gears on him. So, James Harden, if you listening, handle your business. Step it up. Game 2, you was anemic offensively. Game 3, you were subpar, even though you finished with 29 points. Get back on track, bro. Don't give them an excuse to cost you this MVP honor. Don't you do it. Handle your business. Handle your business. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. And by the way, as a last aside, for me to further irritate people, Ben Simmons is a jump shot away from being LeBron James Part 2. And as a result of him the shooters, the way the Philadelphia 76ers play defense, along with Joel Embiid, I have a proclamation to make. And I will tell you what that is in a few minutes. But the one thing I will tell you right now is, as much of a superstar as I know Ben Simmons is, and as better as I know he is as an all-around player to Donovan Mitchell, I would still give Donovan Mitchell my Rookie of the Year honor. I'll reiterate why in the minutes to come.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
You know, I can't wait until I talk to Sam Darnold, star quarterback for USC, projected to be one of, if not the top quarterback taken in this Thursday's upcoming NFL draft. And I agree with my man Mike Lupica of the New York Daily News, who says this may be the most interesting and compelling draft in a long, long time because nobody has any idea what the hell is going to happen. You don't know whether Houston's going to take Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, or Saquon Barkley with the number 1 overall pick. As a result, you don't know whether the Giants are going to take a quarterback or Saquon Barkley with the number 2 pick because he might be gone because Cleveland might take him number 1. You're the New York Jets. You think they're going to take Baker Mayfield, but it could end up being somebody else. You're Cleveland at number 4. Well, what you going to do because you already, you got the number 1 pick, so you can afford to sit up there and play around with the 4th. You Denver, you John Elway, you open for business. This is crazy. By the way, my opening segment was brought to you by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Credit Karma, get knowing. 888-SAY-ESPN, it's 888-729-3776. I mean, I just think, these are the kind of things that I just think about right now. But before I get to the calls, I want to go back to the NBA in this respect. For weeks, I've been telling you I think Cleveland's coming out of the East. Because my attitude is you got to show me that somebody can knock off LeBron for 4 games in a best-of-7 series in the Eastern Conference. I just haven't believed it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've officially changed my mind. It doesn't matter to me if LeBron beats Indiana. It doesn't matter to me if he wins or loses against Toronto. I believe the Philadelphia 76ers are going to the NBA Finals. That's just where I'm at with it. I believe they're going. Philadelphia. It's not because of Ben Simmons, as gifted and great as he is. It's not because of Joel Embiid, the best big man in basketball. That's not why I'm of that mindset. Do you know why I'm thinking like that, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know where my mind's eye is when it pertains to that? Do you know why I feel the way that I feel? Because of 2 things the Philadelphia 76ers do better than most. They have a bevy of 3-point shooters. I mean, signing Redick to a 1-year, $23 million deal doesn't look bad. I didn't think it was bad then. I like J.J. Redick, but it definitely doesn't look bad now. So you got J.J. Redick there. This pickup that Brian Colangelo did of Marco Bellinelli, this dude, he's got heart. He can make big shots. He ain't scared. Ilyasova, you see how he can shoot? Covington can shoot. I mean, this kid Anderson can shoot. Everywhere you turn for the Philadelphia 76ers, they got guys that can shoot. If you take J.J. Redick off the court, everybody is 6'6" and above. And they all want to defend. I mean, I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. I'm hoping that my man Allen Iverson keeps his promise. Spoke to me yesterday, told me he's coming on First Take tomorrow. My show on ESPN. Every weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. I'm looking forward to my man AI coming on. But I got to tell you, he's been telling me all year, don't sleep on Philly. I'm looking at some of these guys they have. I mean, this is unreal. This is absolutely positively unreal. What I'm witnessing right now, I can't deny it anymore. I just can't. I'm looking at these guys right now. Right now. Listen, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Simmons is a rookie. He's averaging 19, 10, and 9. And by 9.8 assists. He's averaging damn near a triple-double in these 4 playoff games against Miami. J.J. Redick is averaging 18 a game. 18 a game. And he's a three-point shooter, and he's not even hitting 30% of his three-pointers. He shoots 45% from the field. Saric's are also averaging 18 a game, except he's shooting 44% from three-point range. Joel Embiid came back for 2 games. He's averaging 18 and a half. He's shooting 37% from three-point range. Bellinelli is shooting 40% from three-point range. He's averaging 18 a game. The Philadelphia 76ers have 4 guys averaging 18 a game. Ben Simmons is averaging 19. Ilyasova is averaging 12, and he's shooting 40% from three-point range. Covington is shooting 39% from three-point range. They got 5 guys that are shooting good from three-point range, and none of them are J.J. Redick. None of them. Who's their best shooter? Redick. And he's not even shooting 30% from three-point range, and still you got 5 guys in the Sixers shooting from three-point range. And guess what? Bellinelli's the senior citizen. He's a champion with the Spurs. He's 31. Ilyasova's 30. Covington is 27. Embiid is 23. Saric is 23. Redick. I'm sorry, he's really the senior citizen at 33. And Ben Simmons, of course, is 21. Look, man, I didn't even bring up Markelle Fultz. I didn't even bring up T.J. McConnell. This kid, Justin Anderson, don't get no time. I didn't even bring up Rashawn Holmes, the athletic dude that comes off the bench that hasn't played but 4.5 minutes this series. Ladies and gentlemen, Philadelphia 76ers are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. I can't deny it. I can't deny it. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. To the phones we go. Fidel, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Fidel in L.A. Talk to me.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Hey, so I want to make a quick point real quick. When you look at how Oladipo's playing in Indiana now, you look at the reason Kevin Durant left, or perceived reasons as to why he left. You look at the way Paul George is playing in OKC now, and you look at a player like Carmelo Anthony, who was supposed to revitalize his career on this team and become this player that he always should have been. When do we start holding Russell Westbrook accountable for his play? Because, yes, he's he's averaging a triple-double 2 seasons in a row, but it's not translating into wins. And you got a young guy like
wait a minute. Don't bore me with your comments. Of course we're blaming Russell Westbrook, too. The man hasn't attempted a shot in the fourth quarter the last 2 games. That's a problem. Mr. Triple-Double, the alpha dog on this squad, the point guard, the leader, he hasn't been aggressive. And on his watch, Ricky Rubio dropped the triple-double. Nobody's letting Russell Westbrook off the hook. Who did that?
I'm not saying that I'm off the hook, but I don't hear much of anybody in the media, including yourself.
Because we don't expect anything. Because we don't expect anything. We haven't been enamored. We've been very disappointed with Oklahoma City all year long. All year long. And we haven't just pointed to Russell Westbrook. We pointed to Melo. We pointed to Paul George to a lesser degree. And we most certainly have pointed to Billy Donovan, who I respect and is a 2-time national champion as a coach, but should be doing a better job with this group. We have lamented how Steven Adams hasn't gotten involved enough on a consistent basis. But the reality is that we haven't talked about them much because we don't expect anything. And maybe we should. Maybe we should talk about them a little bit more because I think they're about to lose this series to Utah. They better not lose tonight, and I think they might.
Yeah, no, I expect something of Paul George, honestly. You look at the way he played before, he's a great player. It's just I think there's something to be said about the way players play when they're on the court with Russell Westbrook. And I think
That's a good point.
More attention to that.
It's a good point. Good point. The way, see, that's a very valid point on your part. It ain't just about Russell Westbrook and the way he plays. The way other players play when they're on the court with Russell Westbrook is a very interesting discussion. You're absolutely right about that, Fidel. You're absolutely right. Appreciate the call.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
47 minutes past hour number 1 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Reminding you at the top of the hour, top of hour number 2 of this show, Sam Darnold, star quarterback at USC. He will be on the show with yours truly. We're looking forward to talking to him. He's projected to be one of, if not the top quarterback taking in Thursday's NFL draft. He could go 1 to Cleveland. He can go 2 to the Giants. Chances are there's no way in hell he'll fall lower than 3 to the Jets. You've got some New Yorkers that are literally going back and forth. Who do you want more, Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? So it just remains to be seen. It'll be real interesting to see what things unfold, what things transpire as we approach the NFL draft this Thursday. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's go to David in Toronto. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, David?
Great shooters for LeBron, right?
David, you're on speakerphone. Pick up your phone, bro. My audience can't understand you. Pick up your phone and talk to us.
No spread.
Right. Kentrell in Atlanta. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. I got a couple of questions for you. The first one, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
The first one is, the next series coming up, Pelicans and Warriors. I think that will be a test that will prove who the best player in the world will be next year. To that, you say what?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question specifically.
I feel that out of the battle between KD and Anthony Davis or the Pelicans and the Warriors, I feel like that'll prove who's going to take the mantle next season as being the best player in the league. To that, you say what?
No, I do not. I disagree with that because I don't think anything's going to stop Anthony Davis. Even if Kevin Durant, averages 30, 35, balls out or whatever the case may be, I just think that Anthony Davis is a force that is coming. He has arrived. And I think it's one of those situations where I look at KD and this proclamation that I had of him as the second best player in the world. You can look at it and you could say that, they have 2 completely different styles, but it's not really that different. Anthony Davis can get to the rim. Anthony Davis actually has more of a complete game. He can play with his back to the basket. Kevin Durant doesn't really play with his back to the basket. Kevin Durant is strictly a perimeter player and an open court player. But Anthony Davis can't shoot like he can shoot. But Anthony Davis can shoot. He's got a perimeter shot. He's lethal in the open court. He can play with his back to the basket. He just brings it. And so for me, personally, I don't think anything is there to derail Anthony Davis from getting the acclaim that he deserves. It's just a matter of whether or not Kevin Durant's going to belong in that conversation as well. I think a lot of next series is going to tell us about Kevin Durant. I don't think it's going to tell us anything about Anthony Davis. I remember Anthony Davis having nothing, no help whatsoever, no teammates when they got swept by Golden State years ago, and he averaged 30 anyway. And if you look at him and his playoff averages, that's Anthony Davis. This is what he brings to the table. It's what he always does, bro. And I don't think anything's going to change in that regard. I just don't.
And my second question, I can leave you off with this. So we had a conversation last week about Boston and giving up Kawhi for the 2 Boston young superstars. As presently instructed going into next season with Kyrie and with Gordon Hayward, what future would you take? Would you take the future of Boston or the future of Philly?
No, I would tell you, well, see, that's a different kind of question. Last week, I told you I wouldn't give up both young players, and I still hold firm to that. But I really don't know the answer to that question right now. I would have to lean towards Philly because Kyrie is not 6'10". Ben Simmons is a 6'10" point guard. And I think Ben Simmons is a developed jump shot away from being the second coming of LeBron James. So I would have to tell you, based on that, I would go to Philly, but I would also have to admit it's unfair to Boston because I haven't seen them with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving on the floor with the rest of these dudes. And that's where I'm at with it. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Let's go to Ron in Baltimore. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Ron.
Hey, Stephen A. I live next to a lot of Wizards fans. I'm a Knicks fan like yourself, but a lot of Wizards fans are getting carried away here, and I keep telling them that I need to see them do it defensively on the road. And would you take Kelly Oubre off the floor in the fourth quarter? Or?
No. I don't want him shooting threes in the fourth quarter. I don't want him shooting three-point shots. But Kelly Oubre is exceptional defensively, especially at drawing offensive fouls. Yeah. And I think that he elevates them defensively, and because of that, I would keep him on the floor. But I got to have Bradley Beal and John Wall on the floor. And by the way, Bradley Beal, you got to know better than putting yourself in a position where, a player DeMar DeRozan gets a rebound and you're standing under him and you get called for a sixth foul. Obviously, you should not have been called for the foul. It was a bad call by the officials, but you can't put yourself in a position like that with under 5 minutes left of a close ball game knowing you have 5 fouls and you're the primary scorer for the team.
No question, Stephen A. 2 of his fouls, he was just trying to follow a shot, and he was getting reckless. But you're absolutely right. But I don't know. I really don't know if Beal and Wall can do it defensively and they can move the ball.
I don't know. I got to go, Ron. I appreciate the call because we got a hard break here. I don't know if they could do it as well on the road, but it remains to be seen. One's getting paid $175 million, the other's at $138 million. They're clearly the cornerstones of the franchise. They got to show us. It's that simple, Ron. They got to show us. Hour number 2 up next. We'll start off with Sam Darnold out of USC. Don't touch that dial.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. As promised, our honor and privilege to have our next guest on the line, expected to be one of, if not the top quarterback taking in this upcoming NFL draft this Thursday, the one and only Sam Darnold out of USC. What's going on, buddy? How you doing, man? How's everything?
I'm great. Everything's great. I'm here in New York City, so it doesn't get much better than this.
I got you. And listen, you're here on behalf of K Jewelers. I mean, have they given you some have they given you some nice jewelry? Because I mean, the draft is coming up, man. You gonna rock some fresh jewelry for us? Is that what we're gonna see Thursday?
Yeah, I got a couple chains from K Jewelers, and I'm gonna wear them during the draft. No, I'm kidding. No. I got my mom a nice necklace though, from K Jewelers, and it really is the best gift to give, to your mom for Mother's Day. Mother's Day is only, a couple weeks away. Decided to give it to her early so she could rep it at the draft. But it really is, it's the best gift to give your mom if you're, because for me, for the way I was raised, the way that my parents raised me, sometimes it's hard to explain how much I love them. So decided to give my mom a nice necklace, to express my love to her. And it's really easy. All you have to do is go to K.com. Which is the website, and then go to any K Jeweler store in America to pick up a necklace or any type of jewelry you might want to give your mom. So it's a great gift.
No question about it. And obviously, this Mother's Day, celebrate your mom's never-ending support and unconditional love with an unforgettable gift from K Jewelers or K.com. We're talking to Sam Darnold, star quarterback out of USC, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Let's get into it. Last time you and I spoke, we were face-to-face in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Super Bowl week, obviously. It was great meeting you. I want to know, between that time and right now, what has your life been like preparing for this NFL draft? What are the kind of things that you've been subjected to?
It's been amazing. Every single time, or every day really, just preparing to be the best quarterback I can be this upcoming season. I went to the combine, thought I could have done better, but I prepared really well for that. I prepared well for the interviews. I did really well in, the interview process and in my workouts with teams. So, but now it's just a waiting game until Thursday. So I'm really excited, and, I'm nervous as well, but I think the excitement, is a little bit more, I'm a little bit more excited than I am nervous for sure.
I can definitely relate to that, but I would ask you this question. What exactly is it that you're nervous about? We know you got a lot of things to be excited about, obviously, but where does the nervousness come from?
Well, I know that at the draft anything can happen, so I think that's what I'm most nervous about. But at the same time, I can't control that, so I understand that. But I'm still nervous to see where I might end up, because chances are wherever I end up is where I'm going to be spending, a good amount of time, probably 5 or more years. So I'm really excited about it, and also just excited to get going and, meet my teammates, meet my coaches, and figure out where I'm going to live.
Now, are you one of those dudes that has a preference? Because most NFL guys that are about to get, most guys that are about to get drafted by an NFL team will say, we don't care where we play as long as we get drafted by an NFL team. We're happy and ecstatic. But I'm looking at you and I'm saying, excuse me, I get to L.A. a lot. University of Southern California is a beautiful place. The weather in L.A. is lovely. Everything ain't L.A. So are you one of those people that looks at it from that perspective? Or are you one of those guys that sit up there and legitimately feels you don't care where you end up?
Yeah, I don't care. I think that, and that's what I've been saying throughout this whole process, because it's true. I don't care where I end up. It's just about, that team, falling in love with my game or my personality. And, just wanting to, team up in that regard. And I think whatever team picks me is going to be the right team because they want me. So I'm really excited for the opportunity to get drafted and go to a great organization that has the potential to be one of the best organizations in the league.
I was reading an article today in the L.A. Times, and it was raving about Jordan Palmer, the brother of Carson Palmer, who's obviously a quarterback a coach, a guru when it comes to really helping develop quarterbacks. And you guys have been working out with him yourself, a guy like Josh Allen and others. Can you talk a little bit about how he's prepared you for this upcoming draft and what he's meant to your development over the last few months?
Yeah, he's been awesome. Not only as a quarterback coach, but as a mentor, just for life. What he's able to do in the business world, along with help, young entrepreneurs chase their dreams and their goals. It's something that he's really good at. He's really good at teaching. He can teach different types of learners. He's really good at, just adapting to, the way a kid learns and being able to teach him that certain way. And it's just, I think he really does have a gift for it. But for me specifically, just his experience in the NFL and kind of looking at it through his eyes and understanding how much I need to learn in terms of, reading defenses and understanding, the playbook and where the offensive coordinator, where the head coach is coming from when they expect me to read a defense a certain way is something that I've really learned from him because, he's been there. He was in the league for, a good amount of time. And, he also has connections to be able to talk to people who have been there even longer than him and who have started more games than him. So it's amazing to get, with his knowledge and his connections, it's awesome to be able to learn from those people as well.
We're talking to Sam Darnold, star quarterback at USC, projected to be one of, if not the top quarterback taken in this Thursday's NFL draft. He's here on behalf of K Jewelers with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. As we get closer to the draft, I know at some point in time you've heard some of these folks dissect your game. They talk about your poise. They talk about your arm strength. They talked about how one year was better than the other. They questioned whether or not the headlines were a bit too much, but then they also point out how some requisite weapons that you had available at your disposal, like Juju Smith-Schuster the previous year, but not necessarily last year, may have derailed you to some degree. As you've heard all of these things dissected about you, what's the one thing you want out there as the draft approaches that people have not talked enough about when it comes to you?
I don't know. People have, they've dissected me pretty good. They know a lot about my life. They know about the way I play football. But I think for a lot of people, it's just the love and care that I show people that are around me, my close friends and my family. They're just, they mean the world to me, and, I treat them and my teammates and my coaches at USC. It's just the love that I show for those people is, I think very natural. I'm not a guy, who's like, oh, I'm the quarterback, I have to act this way because, I'm supposed to be the leader. It's not like that. It's very natural for me to want to treat everyone with respect and want to hang out with my teammates, spend time with them, and go up to the coaches and try to learn as much as I can and spend time with the coaches off the field as well. So it's just wanting to learn all those things and then spending time with my teammates, spending time with my close friends and my family. That's something that, a lot of people, they know about me, but, they don't know exactly to what extent. So I think that's something that a lot of people should know if they don't.
Sam Darnold right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. You know I'm thinking about Cleveland, but I'm also thinking about the Giants. I'm thinking about the New York Jets. You can end up in Cleveland or New York. Have you thought about that? I mean, I know you've been thinking about it, of course. I don't mean to be ridiculous with that question. But as the draft approaches, do you have a sense at all at where you may end up? Or are you as lost as the entire media contingent and everybody out there as to where you'll end up landing because of all the things you've heard about your other contemporaries?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just as lost as everyone else. You know, I don't know what you know. I have a feeling of what might happen, but I honestly, I would, if I told you, I would just totally be guessing. So
right.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if the teams who are drafting know exactly what's going to happen yet. So it's a waiting game. You know, I'm excited for Thursday. Have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm excited for it. I know whatever team picks me, it's going to be the right team. So,
Sam Darnold, down it right here with with Stephen A. Smith on behalf of K Jewelers, right here on ESPN Radio. Appreciate you, man. Good luck. Looking forward to seeing you Thursday night. Make sure you're looking sharp. Make sure you got the right jewelry for your mama, because that's very, very important. You're gonna represent K Jewelers. You got to make sure that she has a little bit of bling on there. You don't want it to. It ain't the kind of bling the young fellas rock, but nevertheless, it's K Jewelers. So you got to make sure that you give your mama the right stuff. You do
exactly. Yeah, I got my chains as well, Stephen A. So
I got you. Good luck, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
That was the great Sam Darnold out of USC. Listen, kid's got potential. He didn't have the year he had his first year when he threw over 4,000 yards. They lost a bowl game to Ohio State. We get all of that. But when you look at his size, you look at his poise, the kind of things that they say to him, only had 2 years of college experience or whatever. There's tremendous upside there. You got to give credit where credit is due. But I just don't know. If you're the New York Jets, what if Sam Darnold falls? What if he falls? What if he doesn't get picked 1 or 2? What did the New York Jets do? Because you know they're anticipating that he'll be gone by then. That's why you're hearing about Baker Mayfield. But what if Sam Darnold is available at number 3? If you're the New York Jets, what do you do? If you're the New York Giants, what do you do at number 2? If Cleveland doesn't grab him at number 1? What if they take Josh Allen and you're the New York Giants and you have number 2 and Saquon Barkley and Sam Darnold are there? Yes, you got a running back that'll make an immediate contribution. In the case of Sam Darnold, he'd have to wait a year or 2 because Eli Manning is there. And Eli Manning's got about 2 years left in him. What do you do if you're a Giant or a Jet? If you're the Giants or the Jets, as a fan, what do you do? 888-SAY-ESPN, it's 888-729-3776. Gentlemen, by the way, it's one of my favorite times of the year. The 2018 NFL schedule has been released for your team. The time is now to jump on tickets. Vivid Seats has you covered. The official ticket partner of ESPN. Download the free Vivid Seats app today to get your 2018 NFL tickets. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I mean, what do you do? And if you're John Elway and you're saying that you're open for business, you're basically saying you don't believe in any of these quarterbacks. Are you telling the truth? Is Sean Payton right? None of these guys are worth the top 5 pick. He didn't say that literally, directly, but he alluded to it by saying he's not enamored with any of these guys. So it's just one of those situations. It's one of those things where you got to wonder what direction the Giants are going to go in, what direction the Jets are going to go in. What is Cleveland going to do? See, to me, Saquon Barkley is the best talent. If I have no difference, if I see no difference between the top 4 quarterbacks, that is Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield. Lamar Jackson, some people should thinks he belongs in the equation. I think he visited New England and another team. I don't know that to be true, but the bottom line is he's incredibly athletic, tremendous upside. He was better this year than he was the year before when he won the Heisman, but we'll see. The point is, if you go through those first aforementioned 4 quarterbacks, those guys, if you see no difference between any of them, I don't blame Cleveland for taking Saquon Barkley with the first overall pick. But if there is a quarterback who is definitively better than all the rest in your eyes, if you are the Cleveland Browns, you got to take him. You got to take them. There's no way around it. You got to take them. You can't get around that. You have to take them. Because you've missed out on enough quarterbacks. Sashi Brown is no longer there as an executive because you missed out on Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson. In back-to-back years is unacceptable. But Hugh Jackson is still there. It's getting very interesting. No question about it. Let's go to Tim in Cincinnati. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Tim? How are you?
Good. How are you, Stephen A?
I'm all right. Go ahead. Talk to me.
I have a situation that I need your professional help with. I am a diehard Cincinnati Bengals fan, and it drives me nuts to see Cleveland signing all these free agents and making all these trades. And I don't even know if Marvin Lewis knows what time of year it is.
Well, how could you possibly want my help on that matter? I've been telling y'all for years to get rid of Marvin Lewis. Nobody would listen. And I hate to, and listen, he is a black man that is a head coach, and obviously the paucity of opportunities that have been available to folks is well recognized and well chronicled. But I have been a guy that I have been on the record stating this as a matter of fact. You've been at a team for 15 years and you've never even won a playoff game. It's time for you to go. And the fact that he's kept on board is an absolute travesty. The Cincinnati Bengals, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't care about the citizens of Cincinnati. I'm not saying that Marvin Lewis doesn't deserve to be a head coach in the NFL because he did take you to the playoffs 5 straight years and he does know football and he was a champion as a defensive coordinator. I'm not trying to knock him for that. I'm simply saying that if you are on a job as a head coach for 15 straight years without winning a playoff game, that clearly is enough evidence that you need to go and that a new voice needs to be there. And Cincinnati's willingness to keep him there shows that they look at guys like you, Tim, as suckers, that they don't care about appeasing y'all. Get your money. You're going to come to the football games on Sunday. You're going to watch it on local television because you don't want the game to be blacked out with the NFL policy on blackouts and all of that stuff. And as a result, they're able to convince you it's perfectly all right to keep Marvin Lewis on a job, even though he hasn't won a playoff game in 15 years.
It drives me nuts, Steven, because the way I see it is they're talking about drafting Lamar Jackson with the first-round pick. Yeah, I don't like Andy Dalton fully, but Lamar Jackson is not going to help the team right away. They need to work on offensive line more than anything.
Well, you're not going to get any argument from me there. And I'm not going to sit up there and say that you pass on Lamar Jackson to grab an offensive lineman. I'm going to say you pass on Lamar Jackson because he may not be ready immediately and you need immediate help. It's just that simple to me, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's an additional receiver, whether it's an additional pass rusher, whatever the case may be. Cincinnati's got the 21st overall pick. They got the Buffalo Bills. They switch with Buffalo and them switch. So Buffalo has the 12th pick from Cincinnati. Cincinnati has the 21st pick from Buffalo. That's what you got going on here. And maybe they grab Lamar Jackson. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Daryl in Nashville, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
All right, Stephen A., I have 2 questions for you, man. The first one's about your New York Giants and your Pittsburgh Steelers kind of together.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, with the problems with ODB that he's been having and Le'Veon having his contract disputes that he's been having, would you be a fan of them maybe sending like a Le'Veon and Martavius Bryant for ODB and their pick? Would you support that, or both sides?
No. First of all, as electrifying as Odell Beckham Jr. is, okay, the fact of the matter is Le'Veon Bell is electrifying in his own right. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the combination of him and Martavis Bryant, as great as I think Odell Beckham Jr. is, I'm sorry, I wouldn't do that because if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I can do more with both of them than the Steelers can do with just Odell Beckham Jr. Now, you might be talking about pairing him with Antonio Brown. Well, there's 2 wideouts that be starving for the football. You never know what kind of dissension that could develop, not to mention the fact that both are 2 undersized receivers. As electrifying as they are, in the same breath, the problem that you have with that, you kind of need a big wide receiver at some point. You kind of need a big target at some point. Now, not that I would ever turn down an Odell Beckham Jr. Antonio Brown combination, but a Le'Veon Bell with Martavis Bryant? No. I'm standing pat if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why would I do that?
My second question to you is about my man Russ Westbrook. Real quick, do you think he has a problem playing with wing players? Because we've seen him with KD, we've seen him with Oladipo, Melo, and now PG. Do you think he would be better served with like a DeMarcus Cousins type of player as opposed to a dominant wing, maybe a dominant big? They can run pick and pop and get more space.
I think Russell Westbrook would be better off with a true, legitimate point guard. That would be my answer. Not that he can't play the guard and he can't be aggressive. I think he needs to play a position where he has the freedom to look for his shot first rather than having to run an offense.
I appreciate that.
It's not that I don't think he can do it. I think that he's best suited. In other words, here I am. I'm penetrating into the teeth of a defense. Everybody knows I'm looking to score first, but I can assist too. That is a beautiful thing. The issue, however, is that when you're asking him to run a show, there's an obligation to get other people involved as opposed to having an obligation to get yours. And I think he's better off having an obligation to get his. But you have to have a true point guard that you can put on the court that justifies moving him off the point guard to the 2-guard spot. And I don't know if that could be done.
Thank you, Stephen A. Go Cowboys all day, baby.
Yeah, man, get the hell out of here. Have a nice day. I don't want to hear go Cowboys all day. Y'all ain't winning 22 years and counting. Okay, last time y'all won anything, my hairline was about 3 feet forward. Just shut up with that nonsense. All you damn nauseating Cowboy fans. Don't win a damn thing. Make me say, we're going to win Super Bowl next year. You know that, right? We're going to win Super Bowl next year after going 3-13. Just enough of y'all. Do something first and then talk. How about that? I'd appreciate that a hell of a lot more. It'll turn me on. 888, say ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I know there are several of you out there who had a bad night. You know why I know this? Because I used to be just like you. I didn't get great sleep because of snoring either. But that was before I tried the revolutionary device called Zeepa. Zeepa's a game changer in case you haven't heard. If you snore, you're not sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, you're not succeeding. If you want success, you got to be at your best. Zeepa's the solution that helps you get that great sleep so you feel your best in the mornings. And everyone who sleeps next to you gets the rest they need to feel great in the morning too. Zeepa's the only snore solution of its kind. If you snore, you need to get a Zeepa. I want you to go to ZYPPAH.com. Easy to remember because Zeepa is Happy Z, spelled backwards. Go to Zeepa.com right now, get a Zeepa, and tell everybody you know to get a Zeepa as well. Remember, it's ZYPPAH. That's Zeepa.com. Get that great sleep you need and that great sleep you deserve. We'll continue moving forward with the Stephen A. Smith Show. Thanks again to Sam Darnold out of USC, expected to be one of, if not the top quarterback taking in this upcoming NFL draft, which begins Thursday night live from Dallas. We'll be talking about that. We're talking about the draft and what's going to happen, what quarterbacks are going to land with. Is Baker Mayfield best in New York? Is Sam Darnold better off in New York or with the Giants or with Cleveland or in New York with the Jets? What is Denver going to do with John Elway? That's a good question since he says he's open for business with the number 5 overall pick. Cleveland's got the 1st and 4th overall pick. What the hell are they going to do? Plus NBA action. I didn't even get into the Wizards and the Raptors yet. I didn't even get into that series yet. But I will. And Philly and Miami tomorrow night. Live from the Wells Fargo Center. I will be in the house for that one. Don't you worry about that. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him, "Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash." His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
And let me veer left. Let me apologize. Let me veer right. Let me veer right. Well, what I'm about to say. This has nothing to do with the NBA playoffs or the NFL draft. This is about former NFL kicker Jay Feely, who's the dad, and felt the need to apologize because he went on Instagram with his daughter and her boyfriend, holding a gun. And the picture says here, wishing my beautiful daughter and her date a great night at the prom. The guy is on his right. Nice dapper blue suit, white shirt, pink tie. The daughter looks beautiful in some nice tannish dress. Jay Feely is in between the both of them with his left arm wrapped around his daughter and his right hand down holding a gun. His hand is not on the trigger. It's not loaded. The daughter is looking at her daddy with a smile on her face, and the dude is just looking into the camera, and they take the picture. Quote, wishing my beautiful daughter and her date a great night at the prom. Hashtag bad boys. Ladies and gentlemen, he actually had to come out and apologize for this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first to say here, we have lost our ever-loving minds. Our damn ever-loving minds. And I don't care what anybody says. Grow the hell up. I mean, this is just, it's gone too far. It's gone too far. Hashtag bad boys. He should have said bad boys too. Y'all may not remember the scene. It's the scene in Bad Boys 2 starring Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. One of the all-time funniest movies. I love that movie. I've watched it about 15 times. There is a scene where Will Smith comes over to the house to see Martin because Martin already let him know that he's leaving the force, or he's leaving him as a partner. He's going to stay on as a police officer, but he's leaving him. So Will comes over there to see him and talk to his brother, his friend, his partner. Then he's looking at the photo of them together, and he's like, ride together, we die together, bad boys for life. And then the doorbell rings, and you see Martin Lawrence walking to the front door. This young whippersnapper coming to take my daughter out. And then he opens the door and terrorizes the guy. Who the F are you? What you doing here? Throws him up against the door, sits there and checks him and all of this other stuff like a police officer would do. You understand? You taking my baby out? You getting high off that stuff? You getting high off that stuff? Can't use the words he used. And then Will comes in there dressed in his suit jacket is off. He got a tank top and a bottle in his hand, acting like he's some drunk, lying about, I just got out of jail and I ain't going back. I ain't going back. What you all scared for? You supposed to take my daughter? I got to know he know how to fight. And they terrorized him. And the scene was hilarious. Why? Because daddies who have daughters want to scare the living hell out of a boyfriend or whatever date she's going on. Who don't know that? In today's America, in yesterday's America, in America decades ago, centuries ago, who does not know that? Who? But Jay Feely still needed to explain. Does a great job for CBS, calling games and everything like that. I've interviewed him on several occasions. He was on the show, First Take, on many occasions. He thought about running for office one day. What did he have to apologize for? What did he do? He was joking around, but also visually and subliminally sending a message that any father with daughters knows. Any of them. Oh, Stephen A., but come on now. I mean, the gun violence that exists in our country, and we just had violence that took place over the weekend, and oh my God, look at the shootings and all of this other stuff. We're sensitive to that. We don't mock that. We don't make fun of that. We understand what happened in Parkland. We understood what happened in Newtown. We understood what happened various other places, and it's been happening for years and decades. We know. Second Amendment rights are a topic of discussion. Gun control is a viable subject that we need to tackle at every turn. Somehow, some way, the politicians on both sides of the aisle got to come together. And those kids at Parkland and the things that they endured, and as a result, how inspirational they have been, in the fight for new gun laws and gun control, incredibly admirable. We should support them at every turn. I ask again, what does that have to do with Jay Feely's photo? He was clearly joking and giving the imagery that a father feels when there's some young punk coming to take out their daughter. Not that that kid is a punk. I'm just speaking metaphorically. We all understand that. We have lost our way. We have lost our way. I dream of the day somebody come to take out my daughter and I'm sitting there like this. What kind of look you think is going to be on my face? More so than the Bad Boys scene, I might steal from the Den of Thieves when 50 Cent took the kid that came to take out his daughter into the back room. Fathers feel that way. It happens. And for Jay Feely to have to apologize for something this innocuous is insane. We have lost our way. We have gotten too damn politically correct. This is ridiculous. You trying to tell me that because Jay Feely took this photo, and I'm not saying because he could be a Republican that might be about First, Second Amendment rights rather and all that other stuff. I'm not speaking about him literally. I'm saying you trying to tell me a liberal, a progressive who is a complete advocate of stringent gun control laws could make a photo like this and you can't tell the difference? You trying to tell me something like this has to be attached with such a level of seriousness that this man has to come out and apologize and be accused of being insensitive because somebody is coming to take his daughter out? What is wrong with us? I think there need to be gun control laws too. I side with the kids at Parkland. I applaud what they're doing. I'm a fan of what they've done and the leadership that they've shown. Hell of a lot better than the politicians we've got on Capitol Hill supposedly representing us. But if they had a problem with this photo, I would disagree with them. We have lost our way. We have lost our minds. Even the most obvious thing in the world, with a father being protective of his daughter in a joking way, can't be interpreted that because of the times we're living in. Come on. Come on. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. We just got to stop. We are an intelligent nation. The greatest country in the world. We can't sit up there and be strident in our efforts to get more laws on the books for gun control. We can demand more of our politicians. We can address serious issues with the seriousness it deserves while turning around and recognizing a joke when it's a joke. Don't tell me we can't do that. It's just that too many of us don't want to. Because we're so freaking miserable. All we want is company. Jay Feely did not do anything wrong. I'm mad at him for apologizing.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it.
Back to the phones we go real quick before I let you get on out of here. Jim in Georgia, talk to me. You're live with Stephen A.
Hey, Stephen A., just cracking up on your comment about dads and daughters, man. You have me going. I have a 17-year-old daughter. First time she went out on a date, she started to bolt out the door, go up the driveway, and head into this boy's car. And then classic Stephen A. form, I said, oh, hell no. Hell no. That boy's going to get out of his car, come down to the front door, shake my hand like a gentleman, and tell me what he's doing with you. So,
and not
totally
only that,
and
not only that, you probably wanted to scare the hell out of him a little bit too. Before he
I did.
You know what I'm saying? Let him know,
Yeah.
you know, I expect her home at a certain time. I expect her in the condition that she departed from this house with. And if there is any deviation from that, it's not going to be good for you, bro.
No, not going to be good at all.
That's
and then
right.
second point, I live in Noonan, Georgia, and we just had a convergence of Black Lives Matter, neo-Nazis, Antifa, and I got to say I'm proud of my town because everybody showed up in power, full of love, and there was no hate at all.
All right. That's good to hear, man. And I appreciate the call, Jim. I appreciate you enlightening my listeners to that. Thank you so much. Paul in Georgia, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A. Well, I mean, I think it is over the top to pose in a picture with a gun in your hand, basically insinuating that, I'll kill this guy if he does anything to my daughter that I object to. And it promotes the whole cavalier cowboy culture.
Oh, stop it.
Being cool.
Oh, stop it. Where the hell were you years ago? Were you saying that years ago before gun violence became more prevalent? Or you were listen, I'm in the middle. I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative. I go on a case-by-case basis, which is why I'm a registered independent, even though I need to register with one party or another so I can register in so I can vote in the primaries. But stop the nonsense. Don't tell me that it's over the top to the point where you can't differentiate between something that's serious and something that's a joke when you have millions upon millions of fathers out there who would never do anything, but definitely wants to scare the living daylights out of you to make sure that you act accordingly when it comes to their daughters. Now, if you don't approve, I understand that, and I can respect that. But don't act like it's over the top to take a picture when you're clearly joking about it. You hashtag bad boys, and on top of it all, you got the daughter and the boyfriend who approved of the photo. Stop it. You know good and damn well that's not true. You know good and well that's not true.
No, of course the daughter and the boyfriend thought it was funny and hilarious because they all probably have the same exact views on the issue. What I'm saying is,
go ahead.
Is people, I'm saying that it's this whole thing that is cool. Like you're a badass if you got a gun and differentiating between.
No. That's not what he was doing. See, that's the whole point. And I want you to call back tomorrow because when I have more time so I can rip you to shreds, Paul, because that's an asinine point of view. He wasn't trying to show that he was a badass. He was trying to say, I got a daughter. I love my baby girl and you better not ever do anything wrong to her. That's a typical father thing. He was playing. They were both involved with the photo. You're completely overreacting because that's the world that we're living right now. We live in a world where, damn it, you could get upset and you could get in trouble for having bad breath. I'm surprised people haven't lost their damn job because they showed up with bad breath to work. That's how ridiculous it has gotten. You don't have to necessarily approve, but to act like this is over the top and it's beyond the pale and it's far-fetched from what anything a father would believe. Either you don't have daughters and you don't know what the hell you're talking about, or you're lying through your stinking teeth. I gotta go. Talk to y'all in 22 hours.
Who's the heir apparent to LeBron James in the NBA? Is it, as I've argued, Kevin Durant? Anthony Davis seems to have something to say about it. We'll debate that today on The Will Cain Show, right after Stephen A. Smith.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on The Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.